Hey everyone, I just wanted to check in with you about the timeline assignment since last night was the first time that we have completed this one. This first time around, I do allow you to revise your work and resubmit it in order to earn up to full credit because I know that this is brand new to most of us, if not all of us. I don't think a lot of us have experience with Tiki-Toki or with this particular type of assignment. And so I want to make sure that everybody can hit the ground running and can get everything figured out this first time through. That's one of the reasons I also make this video, is to point out a few of the things that across the board we may need to work on a little bit. Let me also just say, though, that you've done great work thus far. You should be proud of the way that the timeline has begun to take shape. Also, I'm going to post this video for both sections of New Mexico history that I'm teaching right now online. If you're in section D03, however, please note that your timeline looks different, has a different background. You're working on a separate timeline than the folks who are in section D02. That's fine though, because the things I'm going to point out here in terms of functionality, in terms of style, and how to add things to Tiki-Toki are the same in both cases. So, again, whichever class you're in, the timeline works the same. So this should be helpful either way. Let's see. One of the things in terms of the actual substance and content of the timeline entries that I point out here and there quite often is the issue of historical significance. So remember that one of the key elements of this assignment is to explain the historical significance of the topic you've chosen in specific detail. What I mean by that is that you need to answer the question, so what? This is something that I've heard from editors for articles that I've published in the past. In your piece, you need to help everyone that's reading this understand why this thing matters. Why should I care about this? Or to take maybe a less harsh approach to that is, if I want to understand New Mexico history, why do I need to understand something about this particular topic? So I've mentioned in my feedback to quite a few of you that you did mention a lot of things about your topics that are important, that are significant, but you haven't explained why those things are significant. And so I'm asking you to in your own voice, explain, now that you've done all this research, why this thing matters, why this person matters, why this event matters, and why we all should know something about it. So hopefully that helps. If you have questions about what to do with the historical significance, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so next, what I want to do is just show you a few things in terms of the kind of technical side of how to post your work to Tiki-Toki. So if I mentioned in my feedback that you needed a little help with that, here we go. I'm going to make my head a little, well, no, I'll make it smaller. Yeah, I'll make it smaller. Move it off to the side so that I can show you what to do with the admin box up here. All right, so some of you may have noticed, so for example, in this entry on Acoma, that you can see all these words in the thumbnail, whereas in the village of Quawa, you just see Sarah's name. Make sure that yours looks like all of these. So you should see the topic, you should see the time frame, and you should see a thumbnail image and just your name once you're done, if you've done everything correctly. You also might notice that once you've submitted your work that your thumbnail image didn't show up correctly. Again, if you notice that, that is something that you need to address. So let me show you with this entry on the Pueblo Golden Age how to fix the image problem. So I'm going to go to that entry, pull it up. Here we see the editing box and features. I'm going to click media because that is where the image was entered. And so I'm going to edit that. Delete that. So I'm going to copy the source and open it in a new tab so we can see what's going on here. All right, so it looks like, and this is what most often happens, I'm going to move my head again, I didn't realize it'd be in the way. It looks like this person has copied the URL that appears up here in the browser bar. That actually won't work for Tiki-Toki. What you need to do is put your cursor directly on the image itself and right-click or control-click if you're on a Mac like I am. And then you need to choose the option to copy image address. And that might vary a little bit depending on the browser you're using. Chrome says copy image address. If you're using Firefox or Edge or Safari or something else, it may be worded slightly differently, but the idea is that you're copying the URL or the address for the image itself. So click that. Then I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to paste that address in here and then click save. And now you'll notice there it is. Because I'm going to give everyone the opportunity to redo their work for up to full credit, I'm going to put that back the way it was so that this person can come in and fix that. All right, so that's how you get the image to display correctly. Videos, remember that if you just paste in the video address and then choose video from the drop-down menu, that shouldn't be too big of a deal. To fix the issue that I mentioned a minute ago with all of the text appearing here, I'm going to scroll over to this entry on Popeye and the Pueblo Revolt. So Patrick did an excellent job of explaining who Popeye was, telling his story, and then explaining his historical significance in specific detail. The entry is awesome. The placement in Tiki-Toki is a little bit wonky, so that's what I want to show you here. So I'm going to scroll to the admin section and click on the Popeye and the Pueblo Revolt entry. And so the thing that causes this to appear all in italics in this way is that it was all entered into the intro box rather than the extra info box. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm just going to grab, let's see, I'm going to grab the bulk of the text. So it starts here. All right, so I'm going to just highlight all of that, and I've deleted it from there. So you'll notice it disappeared. I'm going to go over here to extra info and paste it there and click save. And so you'll notice now that I've done that, it appears in normal font rather than in italics. If I had hit enter and created breaks between paragraphs, that would also be preserved here and appear here. I just didn't happen to do that. So that's what I mean if I tell you that in terms of style, you need to post the bulk of your entry into extra info rather than into the intro box. The only thing that should be here is your name. And so then I'm also going to show you what I mean when I tell you you need to embed your link. So we can see here, Patrick's actually included like 3 external sources, which is awesome. If you do that, you can only embed one of them into Tiki-Toki. So if you want to include others in the text of your entry, that's totally fine. But make sure that you embed at least one of them. So what I've done is I've copied this URL there, and I'm going to paste it right here into the link box and click save. Now that I've done that, you'll notice that there's this find out more that will directly, if you click on it, it'll open that link. So again, that's what I mean if I'm telling you to embed a link to your outside source. Make sure you post the URL here in the link box. Okay, and then the media, I think this one may have the same issue as the last one that I just showed you in terms of having copied the URL in the browser bar rather than the URL to the image itself. So let's see if that's true. Right, so this one is a URL for the Google image search rather than for the image itself. So again, all you do is right click or control click, choose copy image address, go over here, click save, and then add new media, paste it in the source area. It's an image, so I don't have to change anything. Click save. There it is. Then just to kind of round things out, I'm going to just delete the rest of this. And there it is. So now you'll notice that the image is there. The name is there in italics. The bulk of the entry is in normal font, and there is a link to the outside source. I will revert that one so that Patrick can revise that if he wants to when he gets a chance. But again, you'll also notice here the thumbnail looks like these others. So hopefully that all makes sense and is helpful. Those were some of the things in terms of the kind of technical side of posting your work here on Tiki-Toki that I was trying to get at in the feedback that I left you. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Last thing, if you don't have a score for your work yet and you're in section DO2, I haven't done the ones in section DO3 just yet, even though I'm posting this video for everybody. If you're in section DO2 and you don't yet have a score, it may be because you've only entered your work here on Tiki-Toki and you didn't post to Blackboard. I will be able to find those this time around because it's the first unit, the first time we've added things here on the timeline. However, once we start to fill up the timeline as we continue, I won't be able to find your work or give you a score unless you post in both places. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.